live from the Alice Springs Town Council and broadcast on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app. This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with your host, Stewart Brash.
And I must say, with my co-host, outgoing Mayor Matt Patterson, who I'll say good morning to right now. Outgoing Mayor.
Good morning. I didn't get a mention in the intro, but it doesn't matter.
Doing it verbally now.
Yes, well,
so yeah,
it's a good intro, Brash. Though it was a good intro. It makes me want to play rugby or something.
Okay,
fires me up.
Yeah, we will be hearing more from the outgoing Mayor in just a moment. Thank you everyone for coming along. We're getting a full house in the public gallery, and as I've already said this morning, if you have a question to put to one of the candidates or all of the candidates this morning, please see Andrew Murdoch, who's holding his hand up. We'll go to those after 9 o'clock. A lot of, maybe after 9:30 will be your questions, so we'll try and fit in as many of those. See Andrew so we can get through those as well. Can I say also thank you and welcome to the candidates who've made themselves available for this mayoral debate. We have 5 of the 7. Lewis Miller sent his apologies. He's got a job to do, finishing a contract. Wayne Wright have been unable to get hold of, so not with us today. Can I say thank you to Asta Hill, who was with us, to Michelle Pettit, Paul Cato, Ellie Melky and Lisa Marie Burgoyne hiding there behind Emma Haskin. But thank you. And Emma Haskin, good morning to you as well.
Good morning, Mr. Brash.
Emma Haskin will be roving with the mic and making sure your candidates get to where this morning. This is going to be a very interesting mayoral election, a very interesting council election. Only one of the current councillors is seeking re-election, and the only other council member currently who's seeking election is Ellie Melky, who wants to be mayor. We'll see if he's two-time lucky. You'll hear from each one of the candidates in a few moments. You'll get a pitch, their 1-minute pitch for why they should be your mayor for the 15th Council of the Alice Springs Town Council. They'll also get a question from Mayor Matt Patterson, outgoing Mayor Matt Patterson, just to get a sense of, from him, what he thinks might be important, but he's also got his own opinions about the things he wants to hear from the candidates as well. I thought that would be quite useful. We will also, after 9, I want to hear from each of the candidates with one big idea for this town, a big idea which will change this town. Now, as Mayor, remember, you're just chairing a group of 9, but you have a leadership role as well. You are the voice, in many ways, the face of the town. So one big idea from you, and you'll also have the chance to cross-examine each other. So we'll start off with one question. You ask the question of another candidate. Be respectful, please. That's what we're looking for. I don't want any defamations. I certainly don't want to dump anyone today, but they will be dumped if that's happened. That's when we have a 10-second delay, so please be aware of that. Interesting hour and a half ahead with us. Mayor Matt Patterson, we'll ask you some questions, though, before we go into the pitches by the candidates themselves. Do you remember the time we did this debate back 4 years ago?
Yes, it was. There was 10 mayoral candidates though at the time, so it was a little bit more packed. But yeah, it was a good experience 4 years ago.
You suffering FOMO?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I'm very excited that I'm not a part of it. I mean, campaigning is difficult, but yeah, I'm watching from the outside. It's much easier watching from the outside.
Just give some general advice. What is general advice you would give to the new mayor of Alice Springs?
Well, I'd wish them luck first, but you've just got to be able to work with your colleagues. I think that's number one. You touched on it being the chair. You've only got one vote when you get into the chamber, and I think that's what you have to remember. Your vote is the same as everyone else's inside.
How many times did you use a casting vote in this last council?
0. I was very upset about it.
That's interesting.
So at the first meeting of council will vote on getting a casting vote. Whether they choose to give the mayor the casting vote or not. Didn't get to use it, but I say I'm disappointed, but it's actually a good thing because most of our decisions were by consensus.
This has been there's been a lot of projects which this 14th council has done, and we'll talk about some of those, but what are the big tasks, what is the unfinished business you have left the mayor and the council of the 15th Alice Springs Town Council?
So this financial year, this is going to be the biggest infrastructure spend that council's had. So that involves the CBD regeneration, the finalisation of Newland Park, the greening strategy. So a lot of plans have been implemented, and now it's just flowing through. So there are a lot of things that are underway. New library, TCA, all of those projects have either just started or just about to. So it's pretty exciting for the next council. They'll get to cut lots of ribbons.
Okay. We'll hear from the Mayor again. He's got a set of questions for each one of these candidates. One question only, so we're not going to tarry too much, but I'm interested to see what the questions Mayor Matt Patterson, outgoing Mayor, has. In a moment, you'll hear the pitch from each one of these candidates here on ABC Alice Springs.
This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with Stewart Brash on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app.
It is 25 to 9 here on ABC Alice Springs. We're at the Alice Springs Town Council chamber, so I must say thank you to the council for allowing us to host this debate in the chamber. Second time we've done it. Anyone who just arrived in the public gallery, got a question for a candidate or candidates after 9, go to Andrew Murdoch, who's over there in the corner. We'll get your question to air. We'll try and get through as many as possible, as I said. We have 5 candidates here this morning. Let's start over here on this side. Emma Haskin with Astor Hill will run through various orders with each individual. Now, each of you will have 1 minute to make your case for why you should be the Mayor of Alice Springs. Astor Hill, your minute starts now.
As Mayor, I'll not only be representative of this town, I'll be its strongest advocate. I'll help change the story of our town. This is the town that raised me and that I'm now raising my 2 kids in. But let's be really clear, my first priority is to get the basics right, and that is things like roads, rates and rubbish. As a lawyer, my hard work ethic and attention to detail will mean that ratepayers' money is spent really carefully and strategically. We also know that young people and families need more to do in this town. By increasing access to council facilities like the library and the town pool and programs, we can quell boredom and we can improve community safety. I'm listening to the community who's made it really clear that our parks are not for sale. I'll protect and improve them. These are places and facilities that we value so highly. It's incredible to see we have 25 candidates from different backgrounds and across the political spectrum. Many I know personally. I can't wait to collaborate with them all.
Time's up.
Thank you, Astor Hill. I might leave you over there with the microphone, but you got to get the words in, you can. Michelle Pettit is our second candidate. Michelle, a community voice in Alice Springs, has 1 minute. Have you ready with your timer there, Emma Haskin?
Not quite.
Okay. As I said, we're hearing 1 minute pitches from each one of these candidates. We've got 5 of the 7, and they have 1 minute to tell you why they should be the next mayor of Alice Springs. Michelle, go.
I'm the 2021 mayoral recipient of the Michelle Castagna Medal, and I advocate for disability. I'm a voice for community. I'm aiming for collaboration and teamwork, so I'd like to advocate for good people on the team. Jane Clark would be fabulous. Parks and Wildlife, 8 years on council. Sophie Marriott, we need a voice around the table for Todd Street Mall. Also, experienced Hobart City Council, and I don't know why I'm shaking, sorry, I'm normally pretty comfortable. We need more collaboration with community, Parks and Wildlife, Jane, Sophie, and Hobart City Council, My State Wooden Boat Festival, Hobart Carols by Candlelight. Any questions, just throw them at me. But we need teamwork and voice from the community.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you. We are running through these 5 candidates. Let's head over to Lisa Marie Burgoyne for our third candidate this morning. Yeah, it does seem to work standing up, doesn't it? I'm sorry, this is a audio visual, non-audio visual medium, but we're asking the candidates to give us their 1 minute of their time to explain why they should be the mayor of Alice Springs. Emma Haskin, are we go?
My name is Lisa Marie Burgoyne, and I'm a mother of 2, and I'm a 35-year-old events and marketing specialist in Alice Springs. I was born and raised here in Alice Springs, and I love this community. The council that I lead, I want to prioritise our place so that it's clean, safe and accessible for everyone. I want our parks and facilities maintained, and that includes the aquatic centre and the library, so that the community has access to those spaces and they're not just assets on a register. And I want the council to be a positive advocate for this community. I want them to foster pride in calling Alice Springs home. So this Saturday, I'm asking you to support me, Lisa Marie Burgoyne, for Mayor of Alice Springs.
Oh, in time. There you go. No need for the gong on this one. Thanks you to Lisa Marie Burgoyne. Ellie Melky is fourth candidate. I can count really well here on ABC Alice Springs, where the time is 20 to 9. Ellie Melky, are you ready? And Emma Haskin, your time starts now.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ellie Melky, and I am standing for Mayor of Alice Springs. I have had 14 and a half years' experience on council. If returned as Mayor, I will immediately re-enter negotiations with the Uniting Church to get right the deal of the CBD revitalisation, which is a $20 million federally funded project, so we can actually work on and getting the Todd Moore right and the CBD right. Immediately, I'll get to the library and bring that out, and so we can have public consultations. Far too much information that's not quite right. On the front line, as we are pre-polling, I see a lot of inexperienced people. Immediately, I will also help settle in the 7, potentially 8 brand new councillors with no experience. And I feel that this time, if ever there was a time, experience will absolutely be important and it matters.
Beat the bell as well. Thank you to Ellie Melky. Paul Cato. I think people getting a clap for their beating the bell by the sounds of it. You don't want to hear that bell. Paul Cato is running to be the Mayor of Alice Springs. Paul, you have a minute to tell us your story.
I'm very fortunate to live in Alice Springs, and I must acknowledge Rex in the audience. He did a great job while I was in council, and I see Damien's over there. I hope you get a Guernsey, Damien, because we need you for the Fink race next year, big one. And I agree with everyone, or every mayor. I stand on the same grounds. I look forward to the CEO supporting if I get in, because without the CEO, I really can't do anything. I'm disappointed that the council may be moving in the direction of privatisation, and that it takes over 4 months to get an employee up to the depot. So I'd like to see some things like that improved. Besides all that, I wish everyone luck, and may peace be above the world. Thank you.
Paul again has beaten the clock, so thank you, Paul Cato. Thank you to the audience. Getting to a full house here, Emma Haskin. Can I say, and I just need to reiterate for those people who may just be arriving, Andrew Murdoch, who keeps moving around the council chamber here, we'll take, if you've got a question to ask after 9 especially, we'll try and dominate as much of the conversation after 9 o'clock with questions. But if your question's for an individual, make it to an individual. If it's to a certain councillors or councillors, make it so. Or if it's for all councillors, we'll try and make sure that the responses from mayoral candidates is as short as possible, because we've got a lot to get through this morning. Right now on ABC Alice Springs, it is 17 away from 9.
You're listening to the ABC Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with Stewart Brash on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app.
Now, I haven't time-limited responses to this, but I would like, hopefully, brief responses and answers to the questions which will come from Mayor Matt Patterson. Have you got your paper there? You look like you're not prepared.
I was born in the 90s, mate.
Okay.
I've got my phone.
Now, I note from this list that Ellie Melky is the recipient of this first question. So, Emma, do you want to head off to Ellie Melky? This is direction on radio, breaking the fourth wall or whatever it is. Do you want to ask your first question to one of the candidates?
Sure. So, Ellie, this is your third time running for mayor. You failed twice to convince the voters you're the right person for the job. What is different this time?
Well, you're not running. That kind of helps.
Is that your answer? That's your final answer?
That's all he has to say.
That's all I have to say. No, the last time we ran, it was a great competition. It was a great contest. 10 mayoral candidates. I was unlucky, but I think if ever I was ready, this is the time. And I think under Matt and Deputy Mayor twice, we've done a really good job, but it's a shame that you're not running. Too bad, so sad. Now it's our turn. Off you go.
Okay.
Great response.
That's a response from Councillor Melky. Is that mic working, Paul?
Sorry.
You got off
Yes,
your mic.
sorry.
Yeah, it's called Radiocraft.
I know.
Yeah, it's you'll get used to
Well,
it.
at least when we're in the studio and I do it, you just give me directions.
Yeah,
It's a bit harder
yeah,
when we've got a
it's
crowd,
like
isn't it?
landing a plane in those budgie smugglers. Next question goes to Asta Hill, who is candidate for mayor. Now, your question for Asta, and if you don't hear the question properly or you want to hear it again, feel free to. Mayor, your question.
Asta, you have said previously that Greens policy and yourself are one and the same, and you're an endorsed Green candidate. A national Greens policy is to change the date of Australia Day, and it's quite a topical issue that comes up every year in local government. What is your position on holding the Australia Day citizenship event on January 26?
Good question, and I'll just start by clearing up. I'm endorsed by the Greens Party. That means I have the support of the party, and we have masses of volunteers who've gotten behind us in this campaign. But I am first and foremost running as Asta Hill, a community member who was born and raised here. I have my own principles, values, standards that I would bring to the position of mayor. My comment about Greens policy is that, there is an alignment. I was involved in drafting a lot of our policies. I believe wholeheartedly in them. But if in a position where I need to compromise or deviate from some of them, of course I would. I would be representing the community proper. Your question about Australia Day, it's a really good one. I think it's premature for me to answer that because it's a matter that we would need to bring to the community. We'd need to receive input from the community and have a conversation from there.
So you'd consult with the community on it?
Yeah, we don't have too much to and fro. That's okay. I think the point's been made. Next question goes to Lisa Marie Burgoyne from the Mayor, Matt Patterson. Lisa Marie Burgoyne. Matt Patterson, he's on mic, which is very good. Thank you.
So the member for Breitling and CLP Planning Minister Josh Burgoyne is your husband. I meet with him the most out of all the NT politicians. You have discussed conflicts on a number of occasions. If elected mayor, can you detail the circumstances where you think a conflict of interest would arise and what you would do to manage that?
Yeah, it's really important to acknowledge that any member in the chamber can have a conflict of interest. It's a small town and we all have different fingers in businesses, organisations, volunteer groups. And it is important that when we're in this chamber, every single person upholds those conflict of interest process. If ever there was a conflict of interest, I would raise my conflict of interest and leave the room. That is really important. The integrity of this chamber is really important. For me, good working relationships are key for this council moving forward. That includes the Northern Territory government, that includes the federal government, and I look forward to having those relationships. I would have to take every conflict of interest on a case-by-case basis, but if ever I was in doubt, I would always seek the advice from others. My job is to represent the community as best as I can, and the gallery, I suppose, is probably one that's pretty topical at the moment. We are in the chamber representing the voices of the community. I don't see that as a conflict of interest, telling the minister what the community wants and representing what the community at large wants. In personal matters, obviously, that is a conflict of interest that I would exclude myself from.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Can you see many instances where you would exclude yourself, if you were the mayor, from council deliberations?
Not if I'm representing the voices of the community. The community is the job of the council chamber and the role of the mayor. We are here to represent the community and we would advocate for the community. Our voice representing that community and putting those thoughts and opinions to the NT government is not a conflict of interest.
Okay, so you're essentially saying that you don't see many instances where a conflict will arise?
No.
Okay, I'll leave it there. I think actually that goes to the minutiae of the Local Government Act, doesn't it, in terms of definition of conflict of interest?
Well, there's a few definitions. One's perceived, one's actual. One is about whether it is in the nature of the majority of the community. If it's in the majority of the community's instance, there is no conflict for any person inside the chamber.
Time is 11 to 9. Time is moving. You're on ABC Alice Springs, across the centre, across the Barclay, on the ABC Listen app. Next question from the Mayor goes to Paul Cato.
Paul, now you've said on radio that you didn't want people to vote for you, and I don't know what to ask. So who's your favourite footy team?
Well, what I'd like to say first is, Matt, you've done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
I don't agree with you a lot of the time, but in the things that have transpired over the last couple of years, it's been a real tough gig for anybody. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of everybody in town that you've done a reasonable job.
A reasonable job. That's okay. You can say that. But Paul, can you answer that question? He wants to know what footy team you're barracked for.
Is there a time clock or?
No. As long as it's not the Pies, it's okay.
So I barracked for Richmond.
Okay.
And I remember when I was a small boy, at probably the age of 4, that we used to walk up from my grandmother's house in Murphy Street to Peter's Ice Cream and get the ice cream cake for Christmas Day, just up the road. So, and what am I running for? What am I not running for? You say?
No, we just want to know what your footy team was, but you've answered that, which is good. Thank you, Paul.
Up the Tigers.
Final question to Michelle Pettit from the Mayor. Time now is 10 to 9. The final question. Emma Haskin, you're getting your 10,000 steps really easily at the moment, so well done to you as well.
Welcome aboard. That's what I do every day.
So, Michelle, one of the most challenging jobs for Mayor is to bring fellow elected members together and work together for the greater vision. Are you capable of bringing together 8 individuals? And give me an example of how you'll do that.
I'm one of my innate talents, I think, is community development, community engagement and teamwork. Previous experience on bringing people together, 4 shopping centres in Hobart and 180 retailers. So lots of that work in community brings everybody together. It's not a hard thing to do. I love Alice Springs deeply, and there's so many people that I'd like to bring to the table that are incredibly talented. It's not hard to bring people together. It's just an innate quality I've got. It takes no time at all, and working with everybody's skill sets will be really important. But most importantly for me is opening up the doors of council to community so there's more collaboration, more networking, and not just within the chamber, but the entire town has a voice, and I hope to be the community voice for all people in our arena.
Thank you, Michelle. That is the questions from there. You happy with responses you're hearing, Mayor Matt Patterson?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I acknowledge it's a tough gig to sit here and not have. No one had a brief of what those questions were, and I think everyone's had a fair dinkum crack at answering them. So it is a hard gig. So I think they've done well.
Can I make a point that most of you who in this room who are running for mayor probably know that the margin was 2 votes last election.
As Jimmy walks in the door, g'day Jimmy.
Jimmy Cocking, former councillor Jimmy Cocking has joined us. How's everyone going out there in the audience? Are we going okay out there? You can make noise if you want.
We do need to acknowledge the Mayor of Barclay, Sid, who's here as well. He's driven all the way down to be here for this debate.
He brought the Indian High Commissioner for India into our studios this morning. Okay, time now on ABC Alice Springs is 8 away from 9.
This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with your host, Stewart Brash.
With the help of Mayor Matt Patterson, Emma Haskin on the mic, Andrew Murdoch taking your questions. So hit up Andrew if you've got a question to ask. We'll try and get to as many of those after 9 o'clock this morning. I got a lot of response from the text line. We have a very engaged listenership and audience on many issues. Now, one of the questions which I want to go to first, and if you don't want to answer a question, which is fine, or don't have an answer, feel free. But working from Astor, that side, through to this side, question from the text line is, where should the new public library go? Astor Hill, where should it go?
That's not up to me, that's up to the community.
Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I don't have a very clear idea of where it is. I haven't seen the plans of what is proposed, and so of course it would need to fit within those specifications. But we have a really diverse community that uses the wonderful facility that is the library, and it's a big ticket project, $14 million.
Nearly 20.
Oh, more than I thought it was 14.8, but in any event, it's really important that the users of that library say exactly where they want it to be and what they want it to look like so that it's utilised to the utmost. Okay, thank you. Michelle Pettit, where do you think the new Alice Springs Public Library, and I'll ask the Mayor at the end where things are at with that library, but I think it's $19.8 million, is that correct, which is on the table to build this library?
Yeah, 14.8 from NTG. Your figures there are right, and then there was a $5 million commitment from the council.
Okay, Michelle Pettit, where should the library go?
Well, I'm not too sure. What I have discovered or heard a whisper about is, Matt, you might be able to help, the redevelopment of the library around, I'll get there, people. Just be patient.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit butterfly. This is a bit of a new experience. But anyway, the redevelopment of the council itself in 2006, around there, under Fran Kilgariff. Wasn't there preliminary plans then for a library?
Okay. I suppose I'm just asking you to give a sense of, where you think it should go, what the process should be. Just give us, if you can just give us that.
I think we need to open up a little bit more on preliminary, on the actual plans.
Okay.
As a voice of community, I would say that a lot of people are suggesting they like the library where it is.
Okay.
And they'd like to see some more paperwork plans.
Fair enough.
Open it
Okay.
up. So that's
Thank you,
for
Michelle.
community.
Yeah. I'll rush over to the other side here, who are the prospective mayoral candidates or the prospective mayors. Lisa Marie Burgoyne, any thoughts on where the library should go?
Yeah, I totally agree with the comment that we want the community's input on this. It's a really, really important project. It's a big ticket item. We want to get it right. I would like to see it within the CBD. I think a CBD location fits with all the regeneration work that's happening there. But I look forward to seeing the plans. I look forward to seeing what the community has to say on that.
Okay, thanks, Lisa Marie Burgoyne. Ellie Melky?
Thank you. Yes, look, the library's been shrouded in confusion and confidentiality, and it's time for all of that to come out.
So you can't tell us anything?
But I can tell you my personal view. And my personal view is it does need to go and complement what a $20 million spend would be in the CBD revitalisation and bring about the foot traffic, add more assets into the centre of the town. And if we can find a location that's suitable with enough parking and through public consultation and with enough support, yeah, I think it'll just compound in the positive if we do locate it central.
Okay.
And capitalise on that.
Paul Cato, have a thought on where the library should go, the new library when it's built?
I think you should speak to community, but the last library, or the current library, has a history of being more of a drop-in centre in the hot days and a lot of video games and not much book reading. So if we're going to spend a lot of money, I think we need to be really sure what it's going to be used for, and it's not going to be just a drop-in centre and somewhere to eat food.
I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Emma Haskin. We've got about 3 minutes away from 9, so could I only give 30-second responses to this next question? And I think some of you have already touched on this, but a theme which came through yesterday was, what is your number one priority for the Alice Springs Town Council? We'll start with Asta again.
My priority in running for mayor is to change the story of this town. It's really important that we get the record straight that this is the most wonderful place to live. When we start telling that story, people are going to come as tourists, they're going to start moving here again, and our quality of life as locals is going to improve as well.
Okay, number one priority, Michelle Pettit. As I said, nice and brief, as Asta did just then. Okay.
Open up the doors, collaborate more with community experts, and also do a lot more work for accessibility and disability services.
Okay, thank you, Michelle Pettit. Lisa Marie Burgoyne, we're asking your number one priority for the Alice Springs Town Council. A lot of people asked this in the text line yesterday, and I suppose that's the key thing. What is your priority?
I want council to focus on the livability of this town. That includes our place, our parks, our positivity. They're all really important and the big reasons why people choose to make Alice home. Thank you. Ellie Melky.
Thank you. The first and foremost is to ensure the 8 new council men and women, their visions are realised. So as Mayor, I would assist them and help them and do everything I can through the Office of Mayor and the resources of the Office of Mayor to ensure that their dreams and their visions for the town also come true and be in a position to achieve 9 big visions in the 4-year term is my priority.
Okay, thank you. Paul Cato, finally. Your number one priority for the town of the Alice Springs Town Council.
Number one priority is to be united, and there should be no hatred in town on social media or anything like that. If we're united, we can work together. If there's hatred, we can't.
Okay, thank you, Paul Cato. You're listening to the Mayoral Debate 2025 for the Alice Springs Town Council. We're just about to go to the news here on ABC, so we'll take a 5-minute break. Again, can I implore you, how many questions you got out there, Andrew Murdoch? Got 5 questions so far. If you want to get a question which will go to about 20 past 9, go and see Andrew Murdoch with your question, either for one candidate or for several candidates. Here in ABC Alice Springs.
Don't fight the static. Hear ABC Local Radio crystal clear on the ABC Listen app. Download now.
Good morning, Erin Archer with ABC News. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke has defended the government's handling of Australia's relationship with Israel, saying strength is not measured by how many people you can blow up or how many children you can leave hungry. In a social media post, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called Anthony Albanese a weak leader who has betrayed Israel. It comes after Australia announced it would recognise Palestinian statehood and refused to grant visas to several high-profile Israeli politicians. Tony Burke says Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has shown strength.
When there's a decision that we know Israel won't like, he goes straight to Benjamin Netanyahu. He has the conversation, he says exactly what we're intending to do, and has the chance for the objections to be made person to person.
An economics expert attending the federal government's Economic Reform Roundtable in Canberra says Australia needs to focus on bringing certainty to investors amid global turmoil. US President Donald Trump's tariffs regime and Australia's trading relationship with China have provided many challenges for the government in recent times. Australian National University economics professor Shiro Armstrong says Labor is doing a good job of providing some stability.
The Liberation Day tariffs that were announced out of Washington, the government was very clear that we're not retaliating, but the Prime Minister stabilising the China relationship. Those sorts of measures are very important to bringing some stability and some certainty that can actually help facilitate the investment we need for capital deepening.
The mother of helicopter pilot Sebastian Robinson, who survived a fatal chopper crash in Arnhem Land, says Matt Wright tried to pressure her son into doctoring flight records. Mr. Wright has pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of attempting to pervert the course of justice in the wake of the 2022 accident. Court reporter Olivana Lathuris is covering the trial.
Another witness to give evidence in the trial was Sebastian Robinson's mother, Nolene Chellingworth. She told the court that she too remembers Mr. Wright visiting her son in hospital and asking him to falsify helicopter records. Ms. Chellingworth also told the court that she and other members of the family were told to prepare for the worst after receiving news of the helicopter accident in February 2022. The trial of Matt Wright continues here at the Supreme Court of the Northern Territory in Darwin today.
The US president says American boots will not be on the ground as part of any security guarantee for Ukraine. Emily Gremens reports from Washington.
Donald Trump, Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders discussed security guarantees for Ukraine at a White House summit yesterday. But after flagging the United States would be involved in coordination, Donald Trump told Fox News that American soldiers would not be on the ground.
Well, you have my assurance that I'm president, and I'm just trying to stop people from being killed.
The White House says air support is one option being looked at. Moscow has long rejected the prospect of NATO forces in Ukraine. Emily Gremens, ABC News, Washington.
A young man who's experienced homelessness for most of his life is leaving Alice Springs today to represent Australia at a week-long street soccer tournament in Norway. About 450 men and women from 40 countries are coming together for the 20th anniversary of the Homeless World Cup in Oslo next week to raise awareness and challenge attitudes about homelessness. 18-year-old Leslie Thompson says throughout childhood he'd often walk the streets or stay with family members because it wasn't safe for him to sleep at home.
When I was a little kid, I always see my family fighting, coming back, drinking, yelling, screaming, chucking stuff around. And sometimes I go walk along middle of the night to my other family camp.
Wallaroos veteran Trillian Pomeray says the build-up to the Women's Rugby World Cup has been very different to her previous experiences. Australia will start its World Cup campaign against Samoa on Saturday night in Manchester. Pomeray, who has played at the last 2 World Cups, says it's been incredibly beneficial to spend time in camp before the tournament.
I think that's the biggest shift that we've had, just the professionalism, more game time, more time together as well. In comparison to the first World Cup, we were just kind of thrown together a week before the World Cup. This is where we're at in terms of women's rugby now. It's a more professional outfit.
That's the latest in ABC News.
Live from the Alice Springs Town Council and broadcast on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app, this is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with your host, Stewart Brash.
Welcome, good morning again. You're at the Alice Springs Town Council chamber for the mayoral debates. Conversation we can be having. Keep your questions going to Andrew Murdoch. Thank you to the Town Council. Thank you to the candidates who've made themselves available. We have 5 of the 7 candidates for this year's mayoral election with us. Don't forget, tomorrow night the Chamber of Commerce has a second debate going on at the Convention Centre from 5:30 to 8:30. If you don't get your questions asked here, you can always go there as well and continue this debate as we roll into the election for the 15th Alice Springs Council. How are you going there, Mayor Matt Patterson? You enjoying yourself yet?
I am, but even I'm nervous.
What are you nervous about?
I don't know. I think I think the candidates are doing very well.
That's good.
Yeah, I think they're doing great.
Because in the next hour, and the next thing we'll be doing with the candidates is their opportunity to pitch one great idea for this town. Now, the reason I've asked this is when you first came into council, that was in your first term as a councillor, you were like you bull in the china shop. You wanted to build a regional skate park. It fell flat in its face. No one liked it. It was a dud.
I don't know if it was a dud. I'm sitting right here.
It didn't get off the ground in that form. But you had a vision, and at the moment there is actually work going on towards building a regional skate park at Newland Park, which will be completed under, I assume, the term of the 15th council. So my question to the candidates is, what is your great one big idea? It doesn't have to be, a world beater. It doesn't have to be a skate park, but I do want to hear, and we'll give you ample opportunity to explain these ideas. After that, you have the chance to cross-examine each other. One question for one candidate. Last time we did this, it was quite illuminating, so we'll see where we get to with that this morning. If we have enough time, we'll do a second question, but I suspect we're going to have a lot of questions from the floor this morning here on ABC Alice Springs. It is the candidate debate, the mayoral candidate debate 2025. Any advice for framing a big idea, Mayor?
No, just stick to your guns, I reckon, is my advice. It's just to be true to yourself. You don't need to say what the voters want to hear. If you get elected, you need to be yourself. So it's your idea.
Okay.
No wrong ideas.
But you've got to get the rest of the council on board, and also council officials, officers who actually will help you prosecute that case.
Yes, and but even further that, you need to get the community on side. So talking about the skate park in 2017, the council unanimously supported going out to consultation, and the public said no, and then 4 years later they said yes. So
what changed?
Not sure. You'll have to ask the community that come around. I just think...
I thought you had the secret sauce for us there. But anyway, Mayor Matt Patterson, we're going to look at these great big ideas. Emma Haskin, are you with us? I think you are now. Emma, good morning again. Good morning. To you. Are you with us, Mr. Murdoch?
Hope so, Brashy.
Oh,
yep.
Andrew Murdoch, this is fantastic. For the first time, our drive presenter, Andrew Murdoch, is with us, though who knows, he might be a breakfast presenter soon, depending on my future. I'm not.
Is that an exclusive? Is that an exclusive?
Not calling it right now. I turned 60 the other day. I'm feeling
Happy
a little...
birthday, Brash.
Thank you. You can all sing. No, you can't. Let's go to the big idea. Let's start with Paul Cato over here. One big idea. I won't chop people off, but be succinct and but also elaborate on what your big idea would be for the Alice Springs town.
It's a shame I can't show you a photo, because a photo speaks 1,000 words. But my idea, I've got a photo if anyone would like to see it. My idea would be a restaurant at the bottom of Gregory Terrace and Leichhardt, and it'd be built on the river, and it'd be a 1920s style restaurant. It'd have teardrop lights. It'd have an oval-shaped windows, and it'd be very exclusive to a point, and there'd be limited numbers, so it'd be a place where you'd like to go.
Why 1920s, Paul? What's about the 20s which we want to revamp?
Well, the 20s had a bit of a flair and a bit of tenderness to it, and in today's environment, it'd be nice to have a bit of softness around town.
Thank you. Not sure if council can prosecute that. They can certainly facilitate a development like that. Ellie Melky, do you have a big idea for the town of Alice Springs, one which you, if mayor, would prosecute?
So I've always been interested in and discussed for a long time a multi-purpose sports precinct and one particular main stadium where multiple sports can be played in the same venue, which will then efficientise the ability to maintain the particular stadium, but also attract international, national athletes to come and enjoy here the weather that we have and we enjoy, the 650 metres in altitude that we live here in Central Australia, which is a great benefit to athletes. And with the Olympics coming on, it would be great to be able to create a precinct, potentially somewhere near Kilgariff if we could, and within that precinct have a mini village where people can come and play their sport, plenty of parking, some shops can be built around it, and I see that as a vision. And potentially in 30, 40 years' time, that idea will be really thriving and it'll help grow the town.
Got a price tag?
Yeah, it's very expensive.
You won't have any change out of $100 million.
Oh, you need to talk a little bit more. But there are plenty of areas where funding can be, and we can stage it, and we can do it in over time, so it doesn't have to be overnight. But that's my big idea. You wanted a big idea? I'll give you one.
That's fine. Thank you, Ellie Melky. I think, Emma Haskin, you need a robot arm, don't you?
Yes,
maybe go round to the end of that table and sort of, you might be in a much more comfortable position. Lisa Marie Burgoyne, what is your one big idea for the town of Alice Springs?
My big idea for the next 4 years is to work on the livability of this community, and that's delivering projects like the CBD regeneration, delivering a new library, delivering the council's core business to ensure the community loves living here. I think the CBD regeneration has already started some great ideas, and I look forward to working with the community to see if we can make improvements on those ideas. I look forward to delivering the library and creating a space that is utilised by the whole community, by community groups, so that we have these community assets that the community can go and enjoy, engage and celebrate with one another.
It sounds like many big ideas rather than one big idea there, though.
That all falls under the livability of the town, and I am about delivering the livability of this town.
Lisa Marie Burgoyne, thank you. Andrew Murdoch, you're there with Astor Hill. Yep. Astor Hill, what is your one big idea for this town?
It's to deal with our chronic childcare shortages. When I was 2 months pregnant, I put my unborn baby on more childcare wait lists than I could count. And almost 2 years later, when my maternity leave was up, I didn't have a full-time spot. This is a huge problem for our town. It's impacting the experience of local families here, particularly in a cost of living crisis. It's impacting our ability to build a local workforce, to attract people to the town, and it's also causing people to leave in droves. There's things that council could do about that, and there are examples interstate. We could operate a centralised wait list, so take that burden off families and daycare providers, bring some transparency and some fairness to it. We can also think outside the box, whether that is council running a daycare facility or partnering with the private sector, not-for-profits and the territory government. This is part of a longer conversation, but my point is it's impacting our town, our local economy, and we need to treat daycare like the essential service it is for the growth of our town.
Astor Hill, thank you. Michelle Pettit, it's hit a nerve there, I think, the issue of childcare. I'll actually ask the Mayor at the end of these five big ideas about some of the implications, because there are obviously very big needs and requirements for so much for this town. Michelle Pettit, your one big idea, please.
We need to open the door in our community relationships. One big idea, if we're going to go to the other end of life, would be how desperately we need more services for aged care our seniors. The wait list at Old Timers, people have to pop their name on there every year to retain their space. There's not a cottage. I've had 5 women come up to me, bail me up in town over the last few weeks, homeless. They're between 50 and 75. I need to swing these doors open. We need to all start talking, and we need to improve our relationships, particularly for the outgoing in life, not just the incoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle Pettit. You're on ABC, Alice Springs across the centre, across the Barclay, the ABC Listen app. Time now is 9:14.
Mornings with Meredith Lake from 10 a.m. Wednesday to Friday.
I'm bright but not clever. I burn but I'm not a bonfire. I twinkle but I'm not an eye. Thank you to everyone who jumped on and said, oh, come on, it's a star. I know.
ABC Alice Springs. This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with your host, Stewart Brash.
I just want to return to some of those issues raised, especially childcare and aged care. Now, the council owns the land on a number of the childcare centres which we have in this town, is that correct?
And the buildings.
And the buildings. Yep. So is there a place for the council to work in aged care and childcare, as some of these candidates have mentioned just then?
So starting over here with those two, I mean, the lifestyle village and the seniors village has been spoken about for a long time, and I think that there is a place in Alice Springs for that to happen. Childcare is a massive issue, completely agree. When my son was born, we couldn't get childcare for the first 3 years full time. So, you know, I didn't want to drop the "do you know who I am" part, but still couldn't get full-time care for him at that point. So it is a massive issue. But even for the economy, you're talking about nurses, police officers, it does affect.
Is there a greater role for council in aged care and childcare?
Well, I think the first part is advocacy, but we do have those buildings, and we do assist those organisations to expand so that they can increase places. That has happened in the last 4 years of council.
9:16. We'll get to the cross-examination of the council or the mayoral candidates to each other. Before that, though, I do have a question for all of you, which really, I know it's radio, but I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you know the answer to this question. The question is, in the Municipal Plan 25-26, there was a rate rise for Alice Springs. Who knows what that rate rise was? What was the percentage rate rise for Alice Springs? Hands up, please. Who knows it? Can I?
I'm going
to ignore Ellie Melky because you're a councillor, but I will ask Paul. Paul, did you have your hand up there? It's okay. Can I say the only candidate who's put their hand up has been Paul Cato. Paul, do you know what the percentage increase in the rates was going to be? Is it for 25-26?
So I won't cheat. I was going to say 4%.
That's incorrect, but it's on the money. Can I just, and again, I just want to see, because it depends on whether any of you have read the municipal plan. I was sent this question by someone who's been in finance and asked me that question, and I didn't know it, to be honest. But can I just say, show of hands again, who knows that figure? So no one except Ellie Melky. You now need to say what it is. So Ellie Melky, what was the percentage increase for the rates in 25-26?
4.7.
4.7 is correct. So yeah, I was asked that question. I've shown it. So essentially, the only mayoral candidate who knows what the rates rise, which you're suffering this year, is Ellie Melky. He's in the inside. He actually voted on that plan, to be honest. So I'm not saying he's special. Just he's a member of council. Okay. You now have the opportunity to ask a question of another councillor. Another candidate. Do all of you want to ask a question? Hands up, please. Everyone's got a question to ask? Okay. Let's start with Lisa Marie Burgoyne. Who's your question for?
My question is for Ellie Melky.
Okay, Ellie Melky. We'll respond in just a moment. What's your question?
My question is, you're Alice Springs Town Council's longest serving councillor currently. After 14 years, what do you still have left to achieve that you need another 4 years for?
Thank you, Lisa Marie Burgoyne.
Thank you, Lisa. Absolutely nothing as a councillor. That's why I'm only going to run as mayor. Over 14 and a half years, I've had the pleasure of working with Damien Ryan as mayor, Matt Patterson as mayor, and serving as deputy mayor on 2 occasions. You do sometimes as councillor feel like your hands are tied behind your back, As Mayor, I also understand that those hands would be freed, and you can actually not only achieve your own visions, but also help achieve 8 people's other elected members' visions as well. One of the most important things here is, in the next 4 years, it's a unique situation where many of the current elected members are leaving. Only Alison Bitar is recontesting in the council section. So I felt a great responsibility, really, to stand and allow the people to decide that if all of this wealth of experience and knowledge and experience, is there, then it's up to them to say, yep, we want it back, or not. Not my decision. So I've made it the public's decision.
Ellie Melky, thank you, Lisa Marie Burgoyne, for that question. Seeing as you're there, Ellie Melky, do you have a question for another candidate? Because I've asked everyone to prepare 2 questions. I hope everyone's done their homework as I've asked. Ellie Melky, who is your question for? What is that question?
So my question is also to Lisa Marie. I didn't realise that she was going to ask me a question, sorry. Lisa, what values and expertise do you bring to the role of Mayor?
Lisa Marie Burgoyne.
Try and not roll on this cord. So I bring a lot of different qualities. I think the first one to state is the fact that I love learning. I have been to university, I have a graduate diploma in management, and part of this role will require significant training under the Local Government Act, which I look forward to undertaking. I have been a part of a number of leadership teams and committees and have a lot of experience in setting strategic direction and reading financial statements and budgeting in limited circumstances. My personal qualities I bring, I am 100% committed to any job I do, and I bring that enthusiasm and determination to the role. I am a good team player, and I look forward to working with people collaboratively and respectfully.
Lisa Marie Burgoyne, thank you. Over the other side, Asta Hill, do you have a question which you'd like to put to another candidate? Asta Hill.
Sure. This question is for you, Mr. Melky, and correct me if I've got any of this wrong, but I do understand that you previously sought to ban sporting groups from using public spaces and also proposed selling public parks from community ownership. So I'm just wondering if this is correct, can we expect more of the same from you as Mayor?
Can I just ask one clarification? What was the first point you want clarified?
In relation to banning sporting groups from public places.
Okay, do you have an example of that? I'm just intrigued as well.
Like community football, for example.
Okay, thank you. So Ellie Melky, 2 points there. Parks, and we go to the CAFL Community League there as well.
So no worries. I'll start with the parks, if that's okay. I recently moved a motion that removed the selling of parks off the table. And the first thing we do as a new council and as Mayor, I will ensure we take that to the next step and completely remove it off the table. So that's an easy thing, because I think all of the people on the front line are not in favour of selling parks, so I'm kind of confident that this occasion we will get that resolved and remove any confusion, because there's a lot of that in the community. I've heard that narrative quite a bit, that I'm selling parks. No, definitely not selling parks.
You were the first person to mention this back in, I think, 2010. You were the first councillor.
2011.
2011. So I'll just give that context. You've raised this in the past.
So it was raised to rezone spaces that were currently parks that were not used. And in that conversation, it didn't go well. We said it was a bad idea then. It's a bad idea now. That's why we haven't backed it. In terms of sporting...
And let's go to the community footy, please. Let's make it specific.
Thank you. Community football misses out. Communities miss out on a great deal of infrastructure because organisations are really lazy and they come and use our infrastructure here. So it's just simple. It's easy. We've got toilets, we've got change rooms, we've got all sorts of facilities, yet they miss out because the investment doesn't go back out bush. What we're saying is, at the time that we decided to say community football brings, on occasion, and there's anecdotal evidence to support that perhaps, that we do have a spike in antisocial behaviour. It's all about trying to push the organisations, the sporting organisations, the peak bodies, their millions of dollars that they have available to them, to invest. Over many, many years, they've not invested in the communities, and that's what that's all about. And so if you were in the debate, if you were to listen to the debate, that was part of the reasons why I would absolutely continue to encourage AFL, in particular, NTFL, to support communities out bush.
Ellie Melky, I'll leave it there, but thank you. Can I also make the point, this came to council at the last Ordinary Council meeting. The council then agreed to a rejigged CAFL plan to hold finals in this town over, I think, August 10th, August 24th. The only two councillors that voted against that were, in fact, Councillor Ellie Melky and the sitting mayor of Alice Springs. So just give me the context for that. Michelle Pettit, do you have a question, and who do you have a question for this morning? And who's going to be the most favourite punching bag? I'm not sure who would be. Who will it be? You tell me, Michelle, who are you going to ask a question of?
Lisa Marie, what is your position on accessibility for the disabled and pathways, roads, rates and rubbish, that sort of pathway? We're talking about your experience with accessibility, and how do you see a vision for the future, including a great example is probably our Parks and Wildlife. They're leading the way. Do you have any ideas for accessibility, please?
Sure, thanks, Michelle. For me, that falls under maintaining our place, and accessibility is a huge one. I know my lived experience is very separate from people who do struggle with disability, and their access of paths is a key one. We want to ensure that paths are accessible to everybody. That is Council's core business, and I would fully support measures that we can implement to ensure that those who have difficulties can access public spaces, can use the paths safely with full light, quality paths, verges mode. That's Council's core business, and I fully support that.
Lisa Marie Burgoyne, thank you. Paul, I think you're the last with the question. What's your question, and who is your question for? We are giving the opportunity of all our candidates to ask a question of another candidate. Paul Cato.
Because Melky's running for mayor, and I think he did mention at one stage about selling the parks off, but he's justified that. I'd like to ask him two questions in one. His experience in finance and about transparency in the council.
Ellie Melky, finance and transparency.
Thank you, Paul. When I first got into council, all of the finances were confidential, and I mean all of it. And I'd spent the next 2 or 3 years fighting, and I can note the CEO, Rex Mooney, hello, Damien Ryan, mayor at the time. We worked together over 3 to 4 years to finally find a way, and I encouraged and shoved and pushed, and I think upset a few people along the way. But finally, everything that you read in today's papers in finances are out in the open and transparent. I figured ratepayers' money, why shouldn't they have the right to see what's going on in expenditure, the balance sheet, etc. So I was very proud of that achievement. And then I moved on to the idea of that we needed to pay the Civic Centre debt. There's over $1 million worth of debt.
Try and keep this tight, please.
And we eventually did that. That was another 4-year battle. We saved pretty much hundreds of thousands of dollars. We could have saved more had we done it earlier. But that's the tenacity in terms of I want transparency, and I want good, efficient financial management. And that's an area that I am skilled in.
Ellie Melky, thank you. Paul Cato, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for asking each other questions. If we have time, we'll have another set of those questions, but we've got a lot of questions to come from the floor as well, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now, one thing which has been asked of so many of you candidates during this campaign has been the issue of the divestment plan. The last council, they developed a plan. They were going to consult 9 parks to be divested or to be consulted over divestment. I don't want to ask each one of you an opinion, but I just want to know, will any of you, under any circumstances, seek to divest parks under this next council? Just a show of hands. I'm happy to take a show of hands. Sorry, Paul, you might need a microphone, and Paul, he's got a question. Sorry, Paul, but it's very quick. I just want a show of hands.
Sorry, I misunderstood. We raised our hands.
Okay, who supports selling parks off? Crickets. Okay, that's fine. We'll see what happens when it comes to council. What do you make of the fact that, and I'll ask the mayor this, what do you make of the fact that this has been a big issue and people have said they are not prepared to sell parks? Yeah. And it's a hot button issue. It was badly managed, I would say.
I'll take that as a comment.
Yeah, it is a comment.
So the reason, and I mean, there's a bit of a story about how it got here. There was a parks consultation plan, and the feedback online from the community was that they wanted less parks but better parks. Now, I'm not saying that the decision was made to sell parks. It was the next phase of going out to ask the community about the individual parks. council had never said, including me, that we wanted to sell these parks.
You ID'd 9 and people were not happy. I can tell you that's true.
I know
Okay.
that my inbox was full, so was my voicemails. But it was never signed, sealed, delivered to sell parks. It was the and people in here have talked about consultation. We want to consult. It was from the consultation that took us to that point.
Thank you, Mayor Matt. ABC Alice Springs, it is 9:29. We've got another half hour together. This is for your questions.
Shocking evidence, jury drama. The Mushroom Case Daily podcast took you inside that trial, and now we're doing it again with the Croc Wrangler, Matt Wright. Search for the new podcast, The Case Of. It's on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with Stewart Brash on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app.
I've got to say, we've got far more questions than we'll have time to, but Andrew Murdoch, you are a smart man. You have capacity to sift through the, whatever, not the detritus, but find the gold amongst these questions. So it's in your hands now. Are we going to hear from the people who want to ask these questions?
Definitely. The only vetting I had to do, and I'm not lying, Brashy, was a question about your underwear. That's the only one I've had to vet.
I think I can prove, if people really want to see.
Does Brashy wear underwear on radio? Yeah, he wears pants, he wears underwear, don't worry about it. But Marg had the first question. He was here nice and early.
Good.
Marg, is your question for anyone in particular?
Ellie Melky.
Okay, Marg, please, what's your question for Ellie Melky?
This is about the town library, and I'd like to see the town library stay where it is. Why can't they develop it on site? Why do they have to stick it somewhere else? And the other thing is the animal shelter. It's closed a couple of days a week. What's happening with the animal shelter?
Okay, let's go to the library first. Ellie Melky.
Thank you. The good news is the new council will have the ability to make a decision, and through public consultation, if it's an overwhelming public consultation process that ends up with, we keep it there, it is possible. Everything is still possible at this stage. It's not a done deal. So I entered that debate late because I conflicted myself out for a little while. And when I entered and I read the paperwork, I fell off my chair and I went, why are we doing this again? So there is some circumstances that the elected members, when they are in the seat, will get that information, and when it comes out in the open and the consultation begins, you'll be happy to know that the decision's still live and not final. In relation, to the second point, in terms of the animal shelter, a little while ago, unfortunately, the animal shelter, those people who were actually managing it were unable to continue. So the Alice Springs Town Council has taken full responsibility in the running of the animal shelter and doing a great job, can I add, rangers in the back. And so I think that's a work in progress that the new elected members will have to continue to work with and find a way to potentially find an individual or an operator that can actually take it back on.
Okay, thank you, Ellie Melky. Thank you, Marg, for your question as well. Andrew Murdoch, another question from the floor.
Question is from Darren Burton, who is a council candidate this year. Darren, who's your question for?
Mine is for Astra.
Asta?
Sorry, I've got a cold, so difficult to talking to a lot of people over the last 10 days. My question to you is, if you become our mayor and you're in this position, are you going to stand for state or federal election and maybe cause costs to this community for a by-election? And that question's also to any of the others that are standing for mayor.
Okay, so the question really is it to Asta for some reason, but to anyone else who may or may not. So would you like a response from everyone else as well?
My question was that's because she stood.
Okay.
That's why I've given it.
Okay, well, Asta, I'm sure can answer that question.
I'm so glad that you've asked this question because, sure, it would be on people's minds. I did run in the Breitling election. A big part of my motivation in running for mayor was the groundswell of community support. Like, I had countless members of the community say, we really want you to represent this town. And I took that very seriously, and that's why I'm running. If I have the immense privilege of being elected mayor, that will be my sole priority. I'll be quitting my job, the job I love, immediately, and I'll be sticking out the term because this is really important to me. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Asta. Thank you, Darren, for that question as well. Also, a quick show of hands, because this has become an issue over the years and, in fact, became an issue when the mayor himself took part-time employment. Who will be a full-time mayor if you are elected to be mayor? Hands up. Who will be a full-time mayor? Asta, full-time mayor. Michelle, full-time mayor. Lisa Marie, full-time mayor. Ellie Melky, you're saying you'll give up all your business interests to be a full-time mayor, and I don't really want much of a response, but and boards as well. Will you give that up? Yep.
Boards. I'm not on many boards.
Okay, but you'll give up. You'll be a full-time mayor.
Would you be on any boards if you were the mayor?
I'm just not sure of the question. Sorry.
Okay, I want to know if you want to be. I want to know if you'll be a full-time mayor. You've said that you will be a full-time mayor.
The answer is yes. I'll be a full-time
that's all we
mayor.
need to know there. That's fine. Paul, you're a hand up. No, don't need a microphone. We just need Paul will be a full-time mayor. Absolutely. That's all I wanted. Just a show of hands, just some clarification. Andrew Murdoch, where are you right now? There you are, Andrew
G'day,
Murdoch.
Brashy. I've got Fiona here with another question. Fiona, who's your question for, and what is it?
Hi, my question's for Lisa Marie Burgoyne. I wanted to ask, given that the sitting Mayor, Matt Patterson, said that one of the people he spoke to most frequently in his role is your husband, Minister Burgoyne, and given that conflict of interest is about perception as much as about fact, also given the fact you may have your father and Mr Burgoyne's father-in-law in the council chamber, I wonder if it is problematic if there's big ticket items to be discussed, like potentially a new library, like the Arts Centre, for you and potentially one of the councillors to have to leave the room and leave the discussion. Don't you see that as a problem? I think there will probably be lots of situations where there would be a perceived conflict of interest.
Okay, this is about perceived conflict of interest. So, Lisa Marie Burgoyne.
Yeah, look, any perceived conflict of interest I'm willing to work through on a case-by-case basis. In terms of my dealings with the Minister, for me, that is a case of being professional. I think we all have dealings with people we know quite frequently in this town. We're a small town. For me, I understand there is the question around perceived conflict of interest in regards to that. My response is that I can only take it on a case-by-case basis. I will always do what is right in terms of integrity for this council chamber to ensure community confidence in the work that council is doing. I am committed to transparency on all of those matters. I think it's really important that people are aware of the conversations that council is having with the government, especially in regards to big ticket items. They're big ticket items because they come with huge price tags, and we need to ensure that we get them right based on what the council is hearing from the community. And we are at a grassroots closest to the community trying to feed back to the NT government to ensure that they're doing what the community wants us to do. In terms of conflict of interest, I would always declare it. I don't. The job of mayor is to be an advocate for this community, and that comes first and foremost for me. Conflict of interest, I'm happy to address on a case-by-case basis.
Lisa Marie Burgoyne, thank you for that. Andrew Murdoch, where are we sitting with questions? If anyone's got a question still out there and hasn't had a chance to speak to Andrew, there is still a chance to get a question to Andrew. We'll try and answer those questions as much as possible. Who's next?
Next cab off the rank is Max Broadway, who is another prospective councillor. Max, your question, please.
Thanks, Andrew. Yes, I haven't heard any of the prospective mayors talk about this issue. I've only lived in Alice Springs for 4 years, and I've seen the Todd River burst its bank once. I know there is a flood mitigation plan for Alice Springs, but it seems to have fallen off the radar, and we have so much good weather here that it's easy for that to happen. What do the candidates for mayor think about what we should do about flood mitigation? We're built on a floodplain, for goodness sake, and we risk this building, the hospital, the CBD could all go underwater in a severe flood.
Would you like a response from all the candidates, Max?
All the candidates.
Okay, so we'll start with Asta. Please try and keep responses to about 30 seconds because we've got more questions, I assume, Andrew, so we'll get to those. But Asta, your response about flood mitigation for the town of Alice.
It's a really good question, and Max and I were talking about this the other day. I was born in 1988 and the town was so flooded my visiting grandma had to get a chopper to the airport to leave town. I think it's a real priority, not just a flood mitigation strategy, but an entire climate adaptation strategy. We face enormous risks in this town in terms of flooding, bushfires, heat waves, blackouts. We can't put our heads in the sand. We need to address these risks that we face, that our livelihoods, that our economy faces, and we need to prioritise this.
Thank you, Asta. Michelle Pettit, flood mitigation, what would you do? What should the town of Alice Springs do? And I must make the point that flood mitigation does sit with the Department of what I now call Dolly, of Infrastructure, Logistics and whatever. It used to be what did it used to be called? You can get on your microphone if you want.
Sorry.
Dipple.
Used to be dipple.
Yeah, there's a verb called
dilly,
to dipple something. Now it's dolly. Michelle, what's your
As
plan?
we leap forward into change and a new direction, I would suggest opening the doors, bringing the right people around the table. Where we are now in 2025, we need to hear those voices and teamwork. And it's not just about council as a team, mayor, council, the great team that back up the council, the unsung heroes. It's also about our community, our one love, our town. We need to bring everybody around the table, and don't be shy. Come on, step up. Let's get these strategies in place.
Okay, Michelle Pettit. We are talking about flood mitigation, let's remember. So the question was, what would you do? What would you advocate on behalf in terms of flood mitigation? The last time the river broke its banks, I think, was the Easter of 2000, I remember. But it will happen again. I'll just paint you a picture. The paleo floods, which show in Alice Springs, we have had floods where the floodwater has gone through at 8 to 9 metres through the gap, which means all of us here would be underwater. And those paleo floods have happened within 1,500 years. So there's some context for you. Lisa Marie Burgoyne, what would you do about flood mitigation?
Flood mitigation is a big problem in this town, especially when you consider we have a major flood and most of the access to the CBD is cut off along all the causeways, apart from the bridge over here, and it causes major issues. What I would like to do if I'm elected is to work through the recommendations of any report, work with the people that are actively engaged in these conversations so that the council are well informed to put the right processes in place, and council can actively do that to ensure the river is managed and we can avoid too much destruction.
And I must also say thank you, Lisa Marie Burgoyne. There was the Lura-Mmbantwa strategy, which I think former Mayor Damien Ryan might have actually chaired back in the day, which looked at all the flood mitigation possibilities. The question mark was, where's the money, how much money? But that study has been done, and there's been a whole community reference group was involved in that. And I do think if Damien Ryan was actually at least a member or a chair of that. Ellie Melky, flood mitigation, what are you going to do?
Okay, sorry. Microphone's right here. Flood mitigation is an important ongoing operational issue. We were just recently dredging, but in 1988, 37 odd years ago, that was a massive flood, and 1 in 50 years, we're not far away from another one. So it is very, very important that we continue to work with NTG on the issue of, and as I say, it always amazes me how houses were built flat on the ground. I thought moving forward in terms of planning, you'd have to start getting lifting houses if there are new houses being built or released new land. So it's up on stilts. So there's a whole range of things that we must do. It absolutely is a priority, yes.
Okay. Paul Cato, final voice on what the council should be involved or could do around flood mitigation. What should happen?
I don't think the council can do much about Dipple's involvement. We must be realistic here that we've only got certain things that the council can do, and the NTG does planning and other things, so I'd redirect your question to Dipple, because they're the planning authority, and it'd be incorrect for me to make false statements to be mayor.
Fair enough. Thank you, Paul. Paul Cato. Thank you, Emma Haskin, as well. We'll get to more questions in just a moment. Now, the last time the river broke its banks was 2022, wasn't it?
I was on my way to an interview with you, and I got stuck in traffic.
Right.
Through the powerhouse, yes.
Yeah. Can I also clarify something? Because the town council is the custodian of
Todd River. Yep.
The Todd River.
Correct.
So the river.
So yeah, we're the trustees.
Trustees is the right term.
Ultimately, we can, we talk about buffer, which is quite topical as well, and the minister making that a declaration of a weed. We are the trustees, so you can, as a council, give that back to the government at any point.
Okay.
So if flood mitigation, buffer management, all of those sort of things.
Here on ABC, Alice Springs, across the centre, across the Barclay, it's 18 away from 10 o'clock.
This is the Alice Springs Mayoral Candidates Debate with Stewart Brash on ABC Alice Springs and the ABC Listen app.
And all of you as well here at the Alice Springs Town Council chambers. Andrew Murdoch, where are we? What have you got? More questions?
Kirsten here with another question. Kirsten?
Thank you. My question's for Asta. I was going to ask about childcare, but I really appreciate your response, because I think that it's a big source of anxiety for many families, as it will be for me again soon. So I wanted to pivot slightly and ask about young people in our community. We often hear about young people and boredom. What will you do as Mayor to create opportunities for young people in this community?
Thanks for the question, Kirsten. I think the starting point, which this council can do a better job of, is actually talking with and listening to young people. We need youth advisory groups who are providing direct input to council about what they want programs, services and public spaces that they use to look like. There are important public assets that are run by council that are used by young people and can significantly quell boredom. So just some examples, council did a great job of making the pool entry free over summer. Why don't we do that more? Let's lobby to the federal and territory governments to get some funding to ensure that it's free and accessible to young people. Let's extend the hours so that, instead of running around the streets and potentially breaking into cars and homes, they're having fun and playing in the swimming pool. The same can be said about the library. We've got this big ticket item. Let's get their input into what that space should look like and how they want to be using it.
Hey, Kirsten, did you want a response from other candidates as well, or just from Asta? Where's Kirsten gone? You happy to hear from other people, or you want to get other voices? Yeah, quick wrap around. Paul Cato, what would you do for young people, giving them more things?
Childcare first. That childcare problem's been over 25 years. Town's had a problem with childcare. I agree with Astra that there is a problem with childcare, but I don't know where you're going to get the employees from Astra.
Okay, so Asta's, that's okay. Not an issue for Asta to solve, but she's raised as an issue. But anything else for young people?
Young people, I think if you can get rid of the mobile phone, you've got a big chance of helping this town. Okay, good luck with that, Paul, but thank you. Lisa Marie, I'll go to you because I think Ellie Melky might be having a coughing fit. I hope you've had a COVID or flu test. Lisa, we could all be coming down with it. Lisa Marie, thank you. Quickly, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Maintaining the parks and the facilities is a huge part of that, ensuring that parks are equipped for all community use, whether that's playgrounds, whether that's big open spaces to kick a footy. I think council does a really good job in some of the activations they've already tried, like the school holiday program. And I think the more we can try and incorporate that into daily life, I think that'd be great for combating boredom. I'd like to see how we can work. There used to be a youth advisory group that I think many kids in this town would love to have input in, and I think that's something we can look at trying to bring back.
Okay, Lisa Marie, thank you. Ellie Melky, do you have a quick word on youth in this town?
Absolutely. Look, it's a very long, it's a very hard situation, and 60 seconds or 30 seconds isn't going to provide a solution. But I think the first thing we do is acknowledge the problem, and then when we have the opportunity and the time and the right people are in the room, and invite other people who could be involved, certainly we should be able to discuss it and get through to a solution. There's got to be a solution out there, and if we all have the will and the sincere intention, and I think we'll get there, absolutely.
Thank you. And Michelle Pettit, if you want a last word on this, on the issue of youth. Can I ask you before we go there, any more questions from the floor, Andrew?
We've got plenty, Brashy.
Okay. I just don't want to run out of time because we've only got 14 minutes left together. Michelle, briefly, young people.
I think it'd be valuable as we collaborate. As you all know, I'm an open door policy, so we need to do a lot more work for clarity with community to get feedback and work together. There's extraordinary talent in this town. We also need accountability with youth services probably, but we could work on more projects together as a town for youth engagement, bringing them maybe into the trades, because as Mr. Cato rightly said, we do often, I could probably have an empire, but we're also lacking in the workforce. So training youth in projects, fixing cars, tradesmen, those sorts of things would be really valuable to our town.
Thank you, Michelle. Andrew, still a few more questions to get through?
Yes, plenty, Brashy. Frankie's actually got a follow-up question in regards to young people, but we'll ask the candidates to keep it snappy because we've got some other issues to address.
Very brief.
Thank you. I would just like to know, considering the great weight that is put on young people in this town, what all of your experience is working with young people, and if you have experience in your professional lives working with young people and how you have interfaced with them up to this point.
And maybe just directly answer the question, please don't go off into other territories. So your experience working with young people, please.
Yeah, I have a lot of it, mostly professional. I've spent many years in my previous job representing young people who are detained in youth detention facilities under the most harrowing facilities and conditions. I've seen firsthand what their life story has been and what has brought them into a situation where they have been incarcerated. So I have some really clear ideas, hearing firsthand from those young people about what their hopes and dreams are, what they want their lives to look like, and how they can turn their lives around.
Esther, thank you. Paul Cato, do you want to comment on directly working with young people?
So it first started with St Mary's. I know a lot of people have worked for St Mary's. I was out there for a little while. But bringing up the current day where we are today, I was very fortunate that 3 young Indigenous fellows helped me paint the CEO, helped me paint the swings and the slide at Papal Gardens, which have had fenced off for 4 months and the kids can't use it.
Okay. Needs to be fixed up by the sounds of it. Ellie Melky.
Thank you. So I've had extensive experience in the sporting arena, coaching, mentoring, travelling, taking athletes to interstate to compete. I have 2 sons and now a 12-year-old daughter. So throughout life, we've always used sport as a go-to to help. Most recently, I've taken over the management of the plaza, and we found that interacting with the youth through the plaza and the antisocial behaviour that occurs, we decided that we would introduce a fund that would be used by the public relations officers who are Indigenous young men employed. Some of them have ankle bracelets in the relation of public relations to bring antisocial behaviour down in the plaza. But the youth groups that come through were to be purchased. We bought them chips and drinks and made them feel welcome. And so now we interact with them very peacefully and very calmly with respect, and it's improved dramatically the condition in that space because we wanted to understand, are they hungry? Why is it that they need to steal the can of drink from the fridge? So we've set that up, and we've got a bigger plan to expand in that plaza.
Okay, thank you, Ellie Melky. Lisa Marie Burgoyne. I think we still got Michelle as well, hasn't spoken to this, but Lisa Marie first.
Yeah, I am currently working in the education sector, so part of my work crosses with high schoolers on a day-to-day basis. I am a singing teacher. I'm very fortunate to teach at one of the local dance schools, and I come into contact with kids from as young as 5 and 6, all the way up to 15, 16-year-old. It's honestly one of the greatest joys of my life being part of that school and interacting with the kids and hearing what they've got to say on a weekly basis.
Thank you, Lisa Marie. Finally, Michelle.
Everyone knows my glorious office is the CBD most days for the last few years with Lucy, who might not be a youth, 28, but I've worked with challenged individuals, disabilities for a long time. And more importantly, during my walking around town with Lucy, I have the blessing of speaking with young children, interacting every day. We talk about lots of issues, lots of opportunities. Further, the lovely Nicole Battle, who heads up community development for Alice Springs Town Council. It'd be terrific to have an opportunity and bring some of the events that I worked with Alice Springs, Hobart City Council in my work experience life. Some of the events, and I think for youth, creating something lighter. I know we've got our heavy issues with youth, but something lighter like education facilities coming together and creating a Christmas pageant. Wouldn't that be fun? So let's see what we can do on the lighter side of life too. Let's make people laugh again.
Michelle, thank you. Probably got a bit more time for a few more questions. I do want to wrap this up with each of you just giving us 15 seconds. But not right now, but think about it. You've got 15 seconds towards the end of this program, which is coming very rapidly. It's now 8 minutes away from 10. So you'll get 15 seconds at the end. I might even give the final word to the outgoing mayor. But any more questions from the floor, Andrew Murdoch?
Yes, Gagan's got the next question.
Gagan, who's your question to?
Hi, my name is Gagandeep Singh Ral. I have a question for all the candidates. Nearly 1/3 of population in Alice Springs are from overseas born background, or their parents born from overseas. What will you do to make them feel safe, welcoming, and included in decision-making in council?
Okay. Thank you for that, Gagan. Where do we want to start? You've got a microphone there. Emma Haskin, where are you going? You can start with Lisa Marie Burgoyne. Again,
Just getting the steps up, Emma.
Try and keep it short and sharp because time is limited, please.
Yeah, absolutely. The multicultural groups in this community are a huge part of what makes Alice Springs so livable. I I know the mayor is often invited to a lot of the multicultural group functions, and if I was elected, I would absolutely love the opportunity to meet with those multicultural groups to ensure that we can provide a welcoming environment when they move here and choose Alice Springs to be their home. I would look forward to working with the Multicultural Society and hearing what they have to say and getting their views.
Lisa Marie, thank you. Asta, is there a microphone near you? Oh, sorry, I didn't know who's got the conch. Asta, sorry, I'll come to you next, Michelle.
It's so wonderful to stand at pre-poll and see the diversity of candidates that we have in the election this year. I think there's a real likelihood that we have representation in this town that actually reflects the diversity of backgrounds of people that live here. So that's an important starting point, is the direct representation. But following that, we need really clear input and lines of communication between multicultural communities and council. And as I said previously, there's a lot of work for council to do in setting up those sorts of forums, not just with multicultural communities, but with young people, with people with disability. We need to improve the way that we hear directly from the community in our decision making.
Asta, thank you. Michelle, you get the next word on this one.
Thanks to everybody from all over the world who chooses Alice Springs as their new home. And for council, we thank you for bringing in the Harmony Festival. That's always a great day for everybody. I just think thanks. Great. Thank you for choosing Alice Springs as part of our community. We look forward to continue to work together, and hopefully a great idea could be moving the council meeting from a Tuesday morning to a Monday night again, so everybody in our community has a voice, and every council meeting will be packed as it is today. They're just little ideas, so let's keep growing.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it, but it was on a weeknight. Anyway, regardless, Ellie Melky.
Look, thank you. In 1977, I landed in Australia and couldn't speak a word of English, so I've spent a lifetime trying to learn it. Some people say you still got to get a long way to go, but I had to learn not only the language, the culture, assimilate, integrate, and now I have a Italian wife. I have a grandson who is, his mum is Turkish Filipino. His father, being my son, is Italian Lebanese, born in Australia. So we're really mixing it up in our own family. We're moving forward. Problem with that grandson, he's going to end up barracking for Collingwood. Sorry, Brash. But I understand multicultural people. We work very, very hard as a group. We work very hard to be accepted. We work very hard to feel part of a community. And we work very, very hard to assist and give back to the community. Sometimes you get that look. I know, the colour of my skin or the colour of my hair, and you just get that look. But that's diminishing. It's really becoming very, very less and less and less. I'm an example of what a multicultural person can do. If I don't go any further, I can still say I'm the longest serving councillor in the Alice Springs history, and I've contributed back to the community, and I look forward to working with multicultural people.
Thank you, Ellie Melky. Final word goes to Paul Cato. Paul, good morning to you. And we have got few minutes left.
If you keep butting in, I have no minutes.
Oh, well, I'll stop butting in.
Directly to you. I welcome anyone that comes from a foreign country, whether it's from America, wherever they come from. They're more than welcome. We don't dislike anybody here. We represent you for safety as everybody else in this town. We all ring the police. Sometimes they don't show up. So, as a community, we all suffer under the same. We welcome all the nurses. We're thankful for all the nurses, the doctors. So, multicultural community's always been welcome here. Afghan traders came with camels, so welcome.
Thank you, Paul. Time is tight. I don't know if we can fit in. There's only 2 minutes left, so I reckon we're going to be tight. So I've got to say thank you to everyone who's asked questions, and apologies to those who could not get their questions answered. I'm going to give people 15 seconds, and I'll be quite brutal, but I want to hear from each one. From Lisa Marie, why should you be elected? Go.
I look forward to working with the council that are elected. I look forward to working with the community. I want to see really good things happening for Alice Springs. Okay.
Michelle, 15 seconds. That's all you got.
Community matters, community first. I'm the voice of the community. Thank you.
Okay. Ellie Melky.
Jane Clark said, don't vote Ellie, don't vote Ellie, just don't vote Ellie. Yesterday she walked through the crowd and says, I wish I knew what I knew. I've changed my mind and I'm voting for you.
Are you making that up?
Lisa.
Okay, that's fine. Asta, final throw.
This town's made me who I am, and I owe it so much. And my kid's future is here, so I'm going to always work tirelessly for the town in advocating for it.
And Paul Cato, you get the final word and the final pitch.
My final pitch is non-political.
That's all you want to say? You've been, and Paul has been honest. He did a conversation with Andrew Murdoch the other day where he said, I can't win, so don't necessarily vote for me. But thank you for coming along, for all of you for coming along today. Thank you also to the audience for coming along. So a big round of applause for you. And there's no wrong decisions when it comes to democracy because it is your choice. Final word for you.
I just want to say well done to all the candidates, whether you're a mayoral candidate or a council candidate, well done. It's difficult, but congratulations on putting your name forward and hand up.
And thanks to the council, thanks to Andrew, Emma, Paul and everyone else. Have a great day. We're off to the news now.